Yeah, and it was like left outside forever, so it was kind of peeling apart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They, they really didn't put a lot of effects into this, and they didn't have a big person doing it, but the effects were effective.
Right.
They really were, because he didn't really overdo them. The guy that cut his throat, even the guy broke his neck. I mean, how are they really gonna do that shit? Yeah. They didn't have a lot of that extra stuff, and it was all kind of practical.
Yeah, right. Oh, it was very like the bug scene with the corpse. Mm-hmm. That was very practical effect. Yeah, you could tell.
Simple things,
though. Yeah, it was good.
Simple things, and that's and every time I rewatch it, I'm like, oh, well, I could see what he had. Yeah. Then they were talking about the dreams, and we never really hit on the dreams, because that was weird too, because they were talking about the tachyons.
Yeah, that's actually a big part of this movie.
But it was
throughout.
But it was a very, very fast explanation of what it could be. You know, it's like tachyons came from the future because they were traveling faster than the speed of light.
But they calculated where we would be to send them here. But that's the part where a little bit of science that kind of threw me off. So are they ever adjusting? Because these people have been getting the order of sleep have been getting these same dreams for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And it obviously wasn't there for 2,000 years. It was only there for the last couple hundred years.
Yeah, or a version of that, because that's the only thing that I can think of. Because they had to have been getting a different version of, the son of Satan coming out, or
maybe it was
the son of the anti-god. Yeah.
Because it even says they're all getting the same dream. They've gotten the same dream forever.
They're in front of this church,
like
just watching.
If you saw that when, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever, 2,000 years ago.
Prophecy.
You've been like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
But that doesn't look normal.
But so at some point, basically what they're saying with the dreams is that did happen.
Yeah.
They're there to stop it. Exactly. Those people were there to stop it.
So is this one of those things where it's going to make a new timeline because they know about
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because it did. The last dream that they had, it's the girl. Yeah.
That was definitely not the girl.
Correct. They had a guy that was in a shroud or something like that, or something.
So she's the new one.
Yeah. So she was the one that took over because she was down there. Mm-hmm.
So we get to where she's standing in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
And Loomis is over there with the axe.
Because he gets like, crushed by the boiler.
I could. What if I? And then he picks up the axe, and that lady shoves the shelf or boiler or whatever the hell that thing was.
Yeah, after he cuts off her hand, and then it grows back.
And she grows it back.
And then her head. And she picks up her own head and sticks it back on. Like, sorry about that. That was embarrassing.
Exactly. Amazing. Right?
It's like... Okay, got it. It was
now,
fucking
let's
perfect.
move that boiler.
Yeah,
exactly. There you go.
Yeah, and then it crushes him somewhat.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, he's not really crushed.
It looked like he had breathing room, like to move.
Yeah, like he could have moved out of the way too.
He's like, actually, it's kind of like I feel safer behind this. Just gonna...
But he makes the impossible throw.
Yeah, he does
with the axe.
Right.
Most people can't make that to break that shit. And he makes it fucking almost impossible.
What happens though is the redhead. Is the one that she saves the day.
Yeah,
right.
She sees it, and that's why she freaks out before she does that.
Exactly,
because she walks past the one dude that's the mouth trumpet dude.
Yep.
And he scares the shit out of her. He literally scares. She jumps like 2 feet in the air. She's like, ah! And then she fucking hightails it past it, and she just staring, looking at everything going on. She's like, fuck it, I got to do this. Yeah. And she tackles the fucking the son of Satan, I guess. Son of the anti-god.
Yeah.
Well, is it
because they mentioned the father of Satan.
Yeah.
Which is what buried him
all the way through.
And he was Satan.
And wasn't the father of Satan what she was gonna actually pull out?
So like when she's putting her hand in there, and then you see that dark hand grab her. That thing's fucking huge.
Yeah,
dude. Massive.
Has the nails red, so everything that you would think about the devil.
Yep.
It reminded me of the hand of. Did you ever see the movie Legend?
Yes, that's exactly the way. What I was thinking. I was like, that's Tim Curry.
That's what I thought of as well. I was like, it looks just like that hand.
Yeah, but at first, whenever she reaches into it, you can't tell what it is until she pulls it to the other side,
right?
And then you start
kind
seeing
of a black mass.
Yeah, and then you see it, but it's. What realm is that other deal in? Is it all underwater? What is that water at all?
I don't think it is. I think it's something beyond that. You know what I mean? Some sort of environment beyond that. It's the our environment.
We should call it the Upside Down and start a show called Stranger Things. They stole it.
There's a lot of things in this movie that people could really have grabbed onto and nobody would ever know. Right. And that was one of them. And then just basically not saying, have an anti-god.
What was the redhead's name? Anybody?
Redhead.
So, savior of the movie. No one knows her name.
There was no main person.
Of course, she jumps in with them, and then that's when Loomis makes the impossible shot with the axe.
Yeah, seriously.
Smashes the mirror. And then, of course, Stash is all sad. Because there goes his fucking booty call.
But the thing is, like, I didn't even realize, like, I understood they were kind of like a thing, but like, then like he was so sad, and I was like, there's the lack of character development literally made me go, oh yeah. I was like,
that last scene, honestly, the last scene where it's him in the mirror.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the mirror and he touches his mustache, and I'm like, he's gonna shave. This is gonna be amazing.
They leave
it where he's like reaching towards the mirror, which is cool. That was a good spot to leave it hanging.
And I was sitting there, and I was sitting there watching it, and I think Brock even heard me. I was like, "No, you do not end it like that. How did it work?"
Yeah, you didn't, because after that ended right there, they saw the smoke coming out of everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
And then did they ever show another picture of the actual vial full of the green stuff?
Wait.
No,
the last scene I knew of was
the last scene.
Yeah,
we skipped the scene where the smoke was coming out of their mouth. All the zombie folk.
Oh, not the people.
And then the homeless people kind of broke it up. Officer Barbrady came by and said, "Nothing to see here. You looking loose."
Well,
let's just keep moving.
When fucking Walter runs out, Wang, runs out, and he's looking around, and all the homeless people are like, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, "All right, scoot." He's gone.
Yeah.
So he goes to get the cops and shit, and then everybody comes back, and they're bringing out Loomis and the stretcher and shit like that, and then Victor Wong's just like, "Hey, what's up?" Stash is still cool, like somehow they get out of the fucking all the entrances blocked type of a shit, because Wayne climbs out the back window and he runs away.
Well, I really thought they could have got out the barricade, like they kind of broke through it, and that's when they saw all the homeless people earlier in the movie, and they're like, maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe that's not a good way to go, guys.
It's like busting in a room where there's a tiger, and you're just like, "Hey." Slowly shut the door.
Slowly walk out. Hopefully they don't see us. I mean, and it leaves you at a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It leaves you at not necessarily a cliffhanger, but continuation.
Well, a wondering of like, did it work? Did it not work? Could he access that world? Does he have a gift now that he's had a part of this? Was it in him? Like, there's so many different things.
So as far as a movie overall goes, this is definitely not one of John Carpenter's best works, in my opinion. But really I think, like, the premise side of it, I think, like, looking at it on paper, you'd be like, this is going to be a badass movie.
Yes.
We could make this awesome.
Yeah.
This is one of the
And then they did not make it awesome. But it was still a good movie as far as the story. It was like the story portion of it. Like, again, could have been way more character development. I'm not even worried about the special effects.
You even mentioned it, a reboot.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we went all the way through everything the best that we could at that point, because it's a linear movie, but it's not something that you could really follow too well. No. You got to repeatedly watch it to understand what's going on, to see
really
all the good
pay
stuff.
Attention that first time,
like Mitch did. So I think, again, this is a movie that you continue or you expand upon and you make it a little bit longer. Because what was the running time? 90 minutes?
Like 130. Yeah, an hour and 30. I think it was 97 minutes.
Hour and 45 with the credits.
Oh, was it?
So the actual running time of the movie is like hour 35.
Like yeah. It's hardly anything. Yeah. So I think the best part of the movie was the way that they used the music the whole time. There's not a lot of breaks in that music, and it kept that ominous tone for everything. The idea of the anti-God, they didn't put it in, good or evil. They just said anti-God. So regular particle, anti-particle, and putting it together.
Science.
It's science. What I thought would be a great idea if they did remake this is they get together with the band Sleep. Okay. The band Sleep does the soundtrack.
All right.
And it's nothing but that doom metal. Okay. Just background. Like if you put Sleep in a room with a newer movie, give them 4 weeks and a lot of weed, a lot of food, and you're like, listen, do a Neil Young on this shit. Fucking play it. Give us a soundtrack. Don't even have to come up with themes. Just give us a heavy fucking just guttural badass fucking music to it. And then you really expand on the characterization of the people.
Right.
You don't have maybe you shorten it a little bit, shorten the amount of people. You don't have so many. There's so many different groups.
Yeah, there's a lot of groups. And I think you don't necessarily have to get rid of people, but you definitely want to build more character around those those main portions of those groups.
So maybe you have one person, the best in their field. Like it starts off and you have the astrophysicist. So they're the main group. So they're the main new sleepers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you have to have a few of those.
Yes. So you have that main group of people. So you can still have the love interest and everything like that. You could have the main scientist and then still the main priest. But then in everybody's the people that are going for their doctorate or already have their doctorate in the same building, they pick one from each one of them and send them all together.
Oh, there you go.
So that way you don't have that many people, even though there was, not even 10 people.
By the end of it there, I mean...
Yeah, there's 5 people that live.
Yeah, so that sounds about right, about 10.
Yeah, so you actually have about 10 people, and they really didn't have that many, but you still...
I just think it could be done differently.
They can add more characterization to those individual people instead of having so many different groups, and you have the skeptics and everything, the same kind of everything.
Like you still have the group, but you hone in.
I think that by having the group, though, you have more people coming after people, if that makes sense. Like it's scarier because there's 4 or 5 zombie style folks, instead of just 1 or 2.
There's 3 women. The dude that got his neck broke. The guy outside.
The guy with the wood that stabbed his throat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's still it's a gang, if you will.
Yeah, it's like the best in their field, but they're getting together. So you give it that little bit, that first 45 minutes, again, the building part of it.
Right.
But then you build it up just a little bit more. You kind of
you could do that pretty subtly too. It wouldn't have to be over the top.
No. And it wouldn't have to be rushed.
Right.
You wouldn't have to do a lot of explanation. You start explaining shit whenever they really get there. So they start figuring out what it is.
Right.
Then you can really add the horror aspect into it for a long time. Because again, that's exactly what he did with it.
Right.
But you expand on a little bit of the ideas that they had in the whole movie.
Well, the main thing being the science part of it. Building on that would be the exciting part because you could actually make it a lot more like intricate and detailed. Even with a better budget, you could like show like what it was back in the beginning and all that kind of stuff. Or
yeah, you could show
where the father of Satan buried his son.
Maybe you start with a dream. The original priest is having that same dream. But he's having a dream that you don't even know it's really a dream, and then he dies. Then they start showing everybody getting together. And then those people are spending a little bit more time instead of just the one night in the place. So the first priest goes in there. He's there for a day and then, passes out while he's researching some shit at a table or something. He has a dream, wakes up, and he's like, oh, now I got to get everybody together. Those people come in one at a time a little bit. They kind of expand on them, get everybody there. It's like a week-long kind of a period, right? Or even like 3 or 4 days. But everybody that comes in there starts having that dream. So you expand on the dream part of it, and then everybody's still like, wait a minute, we all had the same dream. Yeah. You kind of can use all of that shit and really expand on it. I think it would be fucking awesome. They were in talks to make a TV show about this.
Really?
On one of the internet TV stations, I think. So I don't think it would be like on AMC or anything like that because you really couldn't do you could have like 2 series and that would be perfect.
Right.
And then that would be it.
Or pull like a Sherlock Holmes BBC where they do like 3 episodes, but those episodes are like almost 3 hours long each.
Yeah, badass too. Like really well written out. Yes. So you're introducing the characters and they all come together.
Like almost like a mini series event would be really cool. You know,
HBO, come on.
Yeah, there you go. Where you at, boy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because right now people are a little bit more receptive to the idea of God being something different. Mm-hmm. Right. And horror is almost the same. They're really getting back into the slasher kind of a deal. But if they give this more, it's not a cerebral horror movie, but But
it could be.
It very well could be because you could add those dreams into it, the dreams into it. There's so many pockets of great things in this movie.
The back mythology, the dreams. You could have a little. I think if you just cared about the characters a little more, all those things would make for a much better.
Yeah, you would really enjoy it a little bit more if it had a little bit more substance to each part of it.
Absolutely.
Because they threw a Mod Podge of this great fucking idea together and just put it all in one spot and said, okay, this is what we got. It was like he needed to get that out. Carpenter needed to get that idea out, get it made no matter what. He
And
got
then
it
he
made.
could move on to whatever else he wanted to do.
Correct,
I can
correct.
feel that, brother.
Yeah. And it turned out, and again, I'm gonna keep watching it. I'll probably watch it once a week for the next couple of months, just because it's growing on me. Every time I watch it, it's growing.
I'll rewatch it just to see if it does grow on me.
Every time, and the first time I was like, ugh, this sucks. Second time I was like, wow, okay, I see this. And then I wasn't influenced by anything that I read, because a lot of people are like, this is his best movie. This was the best one that he did.